Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a gold, I think low gold, maybe silver, we'll call it gold. We are reviewing a gold Winston and Hammond player.
It's beautiful here.
If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Or if you're looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Okay. So here we have our Winston. And we do get specific questions of did you play the right heroes and why did you win, so we'll look into that, but I can pretty much tell you right off the bat that if you picked Winston on Gibraltar, you probably played the right hero. Winston is good on Gibraltar. The other tanks are not as good on Gibraltar. Winston is the right pick. The amount of verticality that Gibraltar demands, especially for the first 2 points, generally makes him a good pick. And what we get into here is he has a little easier of a time, you don't have to be quite as precise with him, we could even say, in going vertical compared to Ball, so he's generally a good pick. Ball's also a reasonable pick. Reinhardt is not a very good pick because Reinhardt has to hit long rotations to go clear high ground. He has to hit very annoying rotations to go clear a Widow on the other side of blue box, things like that. Aris is a little better than what you'd be looking at with Ryan, but still not as good as the main tanks that can actually go vertical. Okay, into the actual review.
1. Attackers incoming.
That's a long time. That is a long time that you just waited there when you saw what was going on. So I know this is only gold.
1. Red attackers incoming.
But boom. Coming out of here, it was very likely this is an incredibly common situation to play out. Oh, there's someone standing there shooting at you, and you're immediately going to jump on them. And you might be worried, oh, what if I get bashed? What if there's a bajillion people standing right here? What if I get bashed and junkratted and bastioned or whatever? Who knows? And I just get deleted. Well, really not that big of a loss if you do, other than the ult charge, because your spawn is right here, 10 seconds, whatever. But B, your diva understands the game. She's DMing. She's going to follow you up. Everyone is expecting, on both teams really, or should be expecting, you to go up here, your diva to follow you up here and protect you, and if there's too many people here, you can just drop. You can zap for a little, and you can just drop, and it's fine. But at the very least, it'll stop people from standing right here. This is what we would call a soft dive, where if you can eliminate the Winston, that's great, but you're diving this really ready to basically immediately fall, but you'll force the Hanzo back. And forcing the Hanzo back lets the rest of your team rotate out of spawn safely. You see how that works? When you're jumping on someone just to make them give up a position, or sort of to make them give up position, to trade out ult charge a little bit, not with a serious intent of eliminating them, and you have a quick out, that's usually what we refer to as a soft dive. And those should be common. You move people around so that snipers and such, or poke heroes, don't have good sight lines on your team. But this was kind of slow. You could have made this happen a lot faster. Now we see there's a Widow there. We'd like to go clear her after we clear this. Fine. Don't look at her. Don't look at her. You're just facing your headbox. This drop was good, but then you wanted to turn around and crouch and back your butt up over to here, and then potentially your next jump is up over to here. Not like deep here where you're going to get stuck, but up onto these boxes where you can zap her, make her leave, make her now play at low health, and then just drop again, and you're relatively safe. That's what we're looking to do. Clear these DPS. You're not supposed to eliminate them, just push them back.
Excuse me for dropping in.
This Widow's just being allowed to free fire on your team. And she doesn't have good aim, but that's still not okay. Hey Carolina, yeah, we're streaming. You were just roasted by your team for playing Monkey? That's not good. Monkey is amazing. Everyone should learn and enjoy and embrace the way of the monkey. Okay, better. This is a little bit heavy of a commit. Yeah, you see that? You go here, and I'm good with this, but I actually just wanted to drop the bubble on top of this and stay up here. I've driven the Widow back, and the Widow's going to step out of my bubble, and now maybe I'll turn to the right and zap these people. I don't want to drop here like you are, because now it's actually kind of hard for me to get out. I have to walk a fair amount of distance. I have to like get over here, and there's 4 people paying attention to me. I don't really like that. I liked it when I didn't have to eliminate the Widow. I just need to put some pressure on her, make her leave, and then drop right back down here. And while I'm doing that, my team has the ability to get from here up to here, to get from here up to here type thing. That's all we're looking for. That's all we need. One-eyed monkey. Ah. Russian man says, yo, this is me. Okay, we've got our reviewee in the chat now. Nice. You missed the health back. That would have made sense, but okay. Too deep. I don't mind if you go back up, but your going back up has to be right here. And if Brig immediately whip shots you out, that's just life. It has to be right here. You don't have a bubble. You cannot go here. You can't do it. Your dive has to be a soft dive that you can just immediately drop if you don't like it and reduce the incoming damage. This jump is what we in the business refer to as a feed. This is a feed. You don't have your bubble. You don't have a quick way out of this. If you don't have your bubble and you don't have a quick way out of something, you can't use your cooldown to get into it. If you just dropped into this spot magically without your bubble, if you'd been like, hey, I walk in up here and I just drop into this and I start zapping and I don't need my bubble because the instant I'm under pressure, I'll use my jump to get out, that could work. But you use your jump to get in, you don't have a bubble, and there's an enemy here, 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 here. Like, they can decimate you, and there's nothing you can do to change that fact. Wouldn't it still be a feed if you had the bubble, since it would have been insta-popped? I mean, it still wouldn't have been good. It still wouldn't have been good. No. He still shouldn't be diving this deep when his team really isn't set up to back it up. The only person who's remotely supporting this is his Pharah, and we know that Azana already used her nade, isn't going to be able to do a great job of continuing to support him. She's not set up over here. McCree was maybe thinking about being useful, is now leaving. So yeah, it's still not a good one. It's still not a good one, blah, but he'd probably get away with it. This Diva's out of her mech. This Widow is going to run from her. This Hanzo does have something distracting them, so he probably would have survived. This is actually not so wildly aggressive that he'd get eliminated. It's not a particularly good jump, because I don't think his team is going to do anything useful during it, and I don't think his team needs it in order to rotate either. They've mostly already got cover. So a shallower dive would have been strictly better, but he probably actually isn't going to get eliminated for this if he has his bubble. He might even get out alive without his bubble, but this is not a good jump, especially without a bubble. Yeah. Just feed this monkey till I get lucky? No. So, like, again, you could do this leap, but you might as well end up here. If you're up here, it's just better. It gives you more access to more things. If you don't like that you're taking damage, you back up a little bit and they can't hit you. Might as well just go up there if you're going to jump up here. Okay, now climb up to blue box. Climb up to blue box. Your team is all the way back here. Your team isn't ready yet. Your team isn't doing anything yet. Your team isn't under pressure yet. Monkey isn't just about like, oh, I gotta be in, I gotta be doing stuff at all times. No. You do stuff. You can't stay active as long as, say, Reinhardt can with his big shield. Monkey isn't about constant activity. Monkey is about, I am going to put explosive pressure on the enemy team when it's useful to my team, and then I'm gonna get out. You can think of him as like, okay, I can occupy the opponent's attention for like 2 to 4 seconds, and they're a very powerful 2 to 4 second distraction. Very powerful, demands attention. But this isn't very long compared to, you know, if Monkey's lifespan was this long in combat, Reinhardt's lifespan in combat would probably be more in the like 3 to 6 second range. As he's pushing up, he has that barrier to stabilize, etc. So, I mean, it could even be longer than this. These aren't obviously real numbers. I'm making these numbers up. But like, oh, we're explosive engaged, but lasts less time. Can't be spending our resources engaging when our team isn't relevant yet, because we're not actually trying to 1v1 this Brig. Can we beat Brig in a 1v1? Yeah, we can, but we're not actually trying to do that, and it's not going to be a 1v1. She's going to get help because the rest of these guys are not remotely distracted by our team. Temporal's going to tell Monkey that if he controls Blue Box, he controls the spice. Blue Box is key to the first point. I mean, yeah, Blue Box is the key to the first point. And yes, I would have said it anyways, blah. You are correct. It's just such a good power position. King Kong likes Blue Box. Funded the health back before trying to bail. Yeah, would have been good. Now we have to retake this space. No, 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 no.
Go.
Is your team ready for you to take space? You're down a McCree and a Diva. Is your team going to rotate in? So A, you decided to jump after you took the Widow headshot, which you just have to change your mind to not do. But B, your team simply isn't going to push right now. Like, your team is not going to rotate right now. Your team is not going to get more aggressive right now with the space that you're trying to explosively create. There's 2 people in spawn. You just wait. You go behind cover and you wait. You don't have any poke phase, so Winston's version of a poke phase is maybe I'll start sneaking my way into a place where I'll be able to engage them more easily in the future, or let me just sit behind cover where they can't see me. If you do this, I want you to go to the highest high ground. The highest high ground. No, the highest high ground. Up there, all the way. No! Up here! Up here! Up here! You zap the Widow, make her uncomfortable, then you see the Hanzo there, and since you don't have bubble, you just drop. Or if you do have bubble, you might deploy your bubble, and from here, be able to zap the Widow that drops, be able to zap the Diva, etc. And then, when you don't like the Hanzo, you drop. But you've still at least taken this space from them. And then on your next leap, you can go to Blue Box. That's how this works. We do not leap up to here. This sucks. This sucks. We're monkey. We're monkey. We like doing things where, you know, like, we're above stuff, etc. And we've, again, dropped ourselves into this situation where not only do these people have high ground above us, they have a complete surround on us. They have a complete surround on us. We don't need to jump into the middle of this opposing team. No. We could jump out here, push her, make her leave, and then drop. And then with our next leap, go, okay, now we're going to leap here. And now the entire team is in front of us because we jumped behind them, and we have our bubble to hold ourselves up here. Like, that's how this works. This is a harder feed. We're getting there. I hate when I jump and I miss bubble, so it jumps behind me. Well, you just gotta get the timing right. The feeding skill? Oh, the skin is fabulous. Okay, got it, got it. Oh. Oh. Like, yeah, we got the elimination. Okay, leave. Call this a win and leave. No, leave high. Don't leave low. You don't want this fight. You got an elimination and rally. That was way more than you deserved. Take it and run. And then re-engage after the rally is over. Blue box, but you don't have health. Not blue box. No. That is not how we use bubble. Now you can't do anything for 13 seconds after you lay that bubble. Because that bubble, you can't engage using that bubble. You're not distracting using that bubble. You're doing a Reinhardt impression with that bubble. And Winston is very bad at Reinhardt impressions. Sure, you can fight her.
60 seconds remaining.
Why are you backing out? Why are you... No! Absolutely not!
Cut it out.
Okay. I don't love this, but Mercy is choosing to heal you through it. Cool.
This will
60
protect us.
seconds remaining.
Why are we leaving? Why are we leaving? I see the reload, but Anna can't heal her in this. Now she's the bubble's probably gonna break before you finish her. There's the Hanzo. Yeah, okay, fine. It's not amazing. I wanted you to take advantage of the pockets you had to win, but not to be. Oh! Almost.
Rocket barrage incoming.
Okay. You gonna go get Anna? Cool. What does she have and what do you have? There's a reason I asked that question. So you see this, and you jump the Anna. You know she doesn't have Nano. I guess that's something. Do you know if she has Sleep or Nade? If you don't know, you basically need to set yourself up immediately in such a way that you can bubble to block the Sleep if she uses it. You're staying pretty close to her. You can't deploy a bubble right now that can be used to block the Sleep. You had to deploy this bubble a little earlier so that you could then be playing around the curvature of it, or you have to pull back a little bit so you create a little more distance as you drop the bubble. One of the two. But this, you're very sleepable if you don't know whether she has Sleep. And sure enough, here's the Sleep, and you're a big monkey, so of course she hits it. Why are you now bubbling? The Sleep's gone.
30 seconds.
Good of you to get back on her. This is scary without bubble. Like this I'm good with. Sure would be nice to have that bubble that you misused earlier, because you could potentially get on this Hanzo if you had your bubble. I still wouldn't recommend it. He's too scary. But what you do is you go, oh, I see the Hanzo. The Hanzo's scary. I don't want to fight the baby diva when the Hanzo could shoot at me. So what do? I just close the angle on him, and I can still zap her. That's all I do. That's all I do. It's perfectly fine with me. And if she backs up and you can't get her, you go, do I want to sneak up and get her over here? Or you just go, yeah, that's fine, and you stand right here. And then your team, from a space perspective, if we pull this baby diva back, is like, oh, look, my team has someone here and has people like over here and here, and your team has pulled back their Hanzo and their Baby Diva, so you've sort of created a line where, like, hey, their team, the remaining people in their team are sort of stuck here, like inside your team's sight lines, your team's crossfire of sorts. Yeah, we'll take that. We'll definitely take that. And then if we see Hanzo start shooting up over here or something, or try to walk up over here, yeah, then we're going to jump on him. And by then, we'll have our bubble back, and it makes more sense. This player's brave to get Winston review. Temporal will punish Winston mistakes more. I punish everyone's mistakes. I know what you're saying, Val, but I think he missed, so no melee cancel when he lands. Health pack? Yeah, the health pack sure would have been nice. This health pack before going in sure would have been nice. Again, while we were consolidating our position, waiting on that bubble cooldown to come back, sure would have been nice. Oh boy. There's nothing you can do. He can eliminate you before your bubble's back. Yeah, you were just counting on him to miss shots, which fortunately he did, but now you can't do anything with this. Interesting. Oh boy. With 18 HP. I see. If you were going to do that, you probably wanted to do that before she supercharged her, but...
Step rider.
Why are you bubbling? Like, yes, I recommend that supports heal McCree when he's doing this. I recommend that Divas DM McCree when he's doing this. I would recommend that you bubble a Pharah who's barraging. I'm probably not going to recommend just generically bubbling a McCree who's high nooning. Not unless he has some better positioning than this. It's too big an investment, and it's an investment that, unlike DM, you can't split it and use part of it and still have some of it. Like, nope, this is your bubble for the next 13 seconds.
Double kill.
Cool. You gonna go push ahead and take high ground? No, you're gonna push cart for another second. Okay, now you push ahead. And you potentially scout from up here to see, hey, what's going on? Do I want to zap them on the way through? Or you wait up here to zap them. Or if you're feeling really spicy and this isn't a gold game, you can potentially go, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to stand here. And last second, you just rotate yourself into this position. And you, let's say, No, you really don't have the supports to do that. You potentially let your supports heal you while you literally just stand here. This isn't a long-term move. This isn't some, I'm going to stand here for 5 seconds and not let them get through. But you can buy yourself like a second like this, which might be all you need for the cap. Hopefully, you don't need that though. And yes, that's a way too advanced topic for me to be covering in a gold review. And yet,
The payload has reached the chip.
cool, we got it. It's actually hard to see the melee on landing, blah. It's hard to see the melee on landing, and it's really hard to know. And we've gone through replays and super slowed them down, and it'll be like, oh, we don't see the melee on landing, we don't see the melee on landing. And then in the same thing, when we rewind and review it again, we do see it on landing. Like, it doesn't recreate the game perfectly or something, but you can completely hide the melee on landing animation with Winston. So unless you're actually looking at how much damage someone takes in an instant, it's really hard from the replays to tell if people are doing the melee on landing thing. Unless you're referring to, hey, he's just missing.
This will protect us. Sniper, be careful.
I mean, yeah. You dropped your bubble in the open here like it was some sort of Rhine Shield thing, and then you decided to go fight the Widow without your bubble. And you didn't do any sort of butt jump thing to try to reduce getting... Yeah.
Payload secure. Move out. Re-engaging.
Yeah, health packs are good for dive tanks. Health packs are good for anyone who likes to wander up the flanks, etc.
Bad guys. Heads up.
Cool.
Barrier active.
Your bubble deployment really wasn't correct.
Barrier
There is an art to your bubble deployment on fighting Diva.
Bad guys. Heads
Here you are. You want to fight Diva? No problem. Fight her. Fight the Diva. You can body block this if you want. You don't need to bubble. This bubble's sort of helping McCree, but not really. She's just going to swap targets to you.
Barrier activated.
Yeah, you really want to deploy your bubble as Winston when she's on the other side of your bubble, not when she's inside it, and frequently when you start seeing the micro missiles. Body block power. It's pretty good. We have a certain Mercy player who regularly views this channel who maybe likes it body blocking a little too much on Mercy, but I'm sure they'll see that. Maybe they'll leave a comment. I'm not sure they'll see that. But especially on tanks, body blocking is great. So we just can't go in this way. So like, oh, this felt bad. Like, oh, blah, 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 blah. We're pushing in and we're down to 98 health yet. Oh, this is why I've been using my bubble early, Temporal, because I just get blown up too hard and I don't like it, etc. Well, as good of a choke as this is for the defenders, there are 4 entrances. It's an extremely strong choke for defenders, don't get me wrong. But there are 4 entrances to it. You do not have to go in one of the default entrances. You can go in the auxiliary entrances up here because you are Winston. You can hop up to like here, wait for your cooldown to come back, and then as or just before your team starts to push through these 2 entrances, you can step out and leap. And you're not going to have been pre-spammed at this entrance as heavily as entrances 1 and 2 are being pre-spammed at. So you're not instantly going to go down to 100 health when you try to break through. And then we've sort of solved the whole need for the bubble thing, and we get to use our bubble here while we're on the Widow.
Sniper, be careful.
He's definitely not mixing melees in with his M1s. I agree, but he's also not getting close enough to the Widow to use melees. But you're right. He's not mixing melees in with his M1.
Group up with me.
Carolina says her experience is when she climbs the stairs, her team feeds on bottom. Yeah, and your team will feed on bottom. But you're not trying to like make every push slightly less bad. You're trying to actually get a reasonably good push. So if your team feeds a bit, just wait for the next wave of lemmings, and then when that wave of lemmings shows up, or just before they're ready to go through, because you know they're not going to wait, that's when you go, okay, now I'm going to go. And if you had to spend a cycle up here tapping your foot and waiting, so be it. Oh, that poor bubble. That poor bubble. So worthless. And now we're pushing through pre-spammed low ground. Sigma spamming it. Briggs is watching it. You're gonna get ulted. Yeah, Nano. Sigma in your face. Now you're trying to close range fight a diva. High ground is the answer. Oh, oh, oh! You gonna wait for one more good push, or are you gonna take this one? I don't know why you pre-peeked that. Like, you told them that you were coming this way with that pre-peek. You knew where Widow was gonna be. You didn't have to scout. Okay. Finish her. Melee, melee, melee! Okay, this is one of the things that Blah is getting upset with you about for melees. We don't truly know, you're not, but we don't truly know that you're not. We do. We do know that you're not mixing melees in with your leaping on people. But what you can do is this right here. You wasted ammo there and it hurts. You were just zapping air. This is fine. There should have been a melee here. Whatever. Didn't happen. I'll live. But now, okay, she's out of melee range, so walk at her. You need to stay far enough away that she can't sleep you. But if she's here, this needs to be a melee. And the reason this needs to be a melee is because you have to still do about 70 damage to her before she's eliminated. You have to do 70 damage to her. Are you going to get 70 damage out of 27 ammo? Well, no. You're probably not going to get 70 damage out of 27 ammo. So what do? You mix in melees. Melees do 30 damage, take half a second, and go on a second cooldown. So 30 damage in 0.5 seconds. Winston's Tesla cannon, if you're tracking appropriately, and it's pretty forgiving with its tracking, but if you're tracking appropriately, does 60 damage per second. So, if we do 30 damage in half a second, or 60 damage in 1 second, we can just mix these together. These are the same amount of DPS. Now, we can't just go melee, 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 because there's a 1 second lockout here, and there's a 0 lockout here, but other than reloads, which become a problem. But if we just melee either as frequently as possible when they're in range, either as frequent, well, let me rephrase this. If we just melee as frequently as possible when we're sure our melee is going to hit, they're in range, they're not too far where a Tesla would reach them, but our melee won't, we're going to extend how long our clip lasts. We're going to increase the amount of time before reloads while still doing the same amount of damage per second, but it's actually more total damage once the time frames get long enough because you don't have to reload as often. And you're actually going to do more damage against armor than you would with just Tesla zapping, because melee's a single hit, whereas Tesla is lots and lots of mini hits, so armor reduces the single hit less than this. So this is why people melee weave on Winston. You absolutely need to melee weave right here. It's the difference between her getting eliminated or not, potentially, and we would like her to get eliminated. Oh, look at that! She went down below 30 health. And you're stuck reloading, and now she's been healed back above 30 health. So if you'd weaved in a melee, she'd have been eliminated right there. Literally the difference between her living and getting eliminated. Literally the difference. Yes, it does. Okay, so that's your Winston, and I think you're going to play Hammond for the next round here.
Well.
Okay, so let's go over your Winston, since I think you play Hammond for the entirety of what's left of the match. So, things that we need to think about with Winston. Soft dives. We need to understand that we can't just dive into the middle of the enemy team willy-nilly without our bubble. We can sometimes jump in front of the enemy team and then immediately drop back down to low ground. We can sometimes jump behind the enemy team and then immediately circle out behind cover, behind some piece of wall, etc. We can sneak up angles and walk at the enemy team, but we can't just jump into the middle of the enemy team whenever we feel like it. Winston is not that durable. So instead, anytime we get really aggressive with our jump, our team has to be ready, and we have to have our bubble. If we don't have our bubble, we can either wait out of line of sight with cover between us and the enemy, we can either sneak our way up flanks, or maybe we can do a soft dive where we just sort of push the enemy. And soft dives are going to be your more common type of dive than hard dives, especially on this map, where it's like, oh, let me go do a soft dive to soften them up, to move them out of position, to make the Widow go away, to make the Hanzo go away. Oh, are they going to get healed up and come back? Absolutely. Of course they're going to get healed up and come back. But while they're gone, your team can rotate through the open more freely. Your team can potentially, while in the open, take shots at the other team, or on their corners take shots at the other team, and not worried about getting shot back at. Your team can potentially connect their own Hanzo arrow with the Hanzo that you were zapping, and now the body shot finishes him because you did a little damage to him, or you did a little damage to the Widow. All those things. So that's what we're looking to do. Soft dives, we want our soft dives. Hard dives are only for when your team is already set up and you have bubble. Other than that, they have to be soft dives that you're not really hard committing to get an elimination out of. You're zapping someone, trying to make them move, whatever, but you're immediately ready to back out of, and you can back out of. 2. This one's for you, Blah. We'll talk about melees. It's not actually the most important thing. It does important, though. It does important, though. Sure, let's go with that. It is important, though. You want to try to hit melees as you're landing. That's going to require accurate landing on your jumps because you basically completely hide the animation for the melee. So it's not quite free damage because you could have been Teslaing that, but again, it extends your clip. That's the harder part of melee to get down. The easy part of melee to get down is anytime someone's in melee range while you're Teslaing them, just mix in melees. And if they're tanks, you absolutely need to get yourself in melee range to mix in melees. Against someone like Ana, it's a little more complicated because you're in this situation where you don't really want to close into melee range on her unless the bubble allows for it until you've already seen her cooldowns come out. But you do want to, in general, be looking for more opportunities to melee because I'm sure you're noticing that we're in this situation where, wait, your clip runs out frequently as Winston and the targets aren't eliminated yet, especially if they got any amount of healing. And the way to make that be less of an issue, the way that you can keep someone pressured at low health longer, which opens up the opportunity for someone to show up and eliminate them for a longer period of time, is by mixing in those melees. And the third thing is these bubble deployments. These bubble deployments have to be upgraded. This is really more important than the melees, but these bubble deployments have to be upgraded. You've got to deploy these bubbles not just like you're some Reinhardt trying to be like, oh, we're getting shot at here, so let me drop my bubble. That is not a very good use of bubble. Your bubble deployments are when you're going for the harder dives, or even when you're going for soft dives sometimes you can be like, yep, I'm going to use my bubble to help me stay here, and that's fine, but you use your bubble after you're on the target. That doesn't necessarily mean after you jumped on the target. You could have walked up the flank, snuck up on the target, start zapping them. You see they turn to start looking at you, and you drop your bubble, and you still haven't used a leap yet, so that's perfectly fine. But the bubbles are for when you're on your target. You need your bubble to parry things like Ana sleeps, Roadhog hooks, McCree flashbangs, but you parry those once you're in. You parry those once you're on the target. You don't parry those when you're like rotating through the main choke. That's D.Va's job. D.Va's job is to be the DM, to be like, hey, I'll help you guys get through this difficult part of the choke. If you want to help people get through the difficult part of the choke, it's not about this. It's about soft diving the opponents so the opponents have something else to deal with as your team is rotating through the hard part of the choke. And you can use your bubble for that. You absolutely can. That's not a problem with me. But your bubble is not over your team protecting it. It's being used by you to allow you to distract the opponents for longer. So that's how these work. So please be much more conscious of your bubble usage. Your bubble usage is not for protecting your team. It's not for laying in chokes. It is for protecting you so that you can use it to protect yourself against abilities, stuns, storm arrows, things like that the enemy team has. And it's really important for that. You're basically not Winston. You can't do much when you don't have your bubble. It's not that you're not Winston. There's still a little bit that you can do, but you can't make any real aggressive plays. You can't jump on anyone seriously without your bubble. Okay. Those are the 3 things I'm going to give you for Winston. If you have questions, you can certainly let me know here, Russian Man, or anyone else can throw questions up as well. Otherwise, we are going to move on to Hammett. FYI, for this ball round, our team basically said, oh, well, let's troll this round, but then we won. Why does your team think you're going to lose this round? Oh, this is a shallow second point push. This, if you get the cart to here, it's anyone's game on second point. If you get the cart to here, this is really shallow. So if you're going to win the game, you're going to end up holding them right here or so with your cart. But we'll see. We'll see. On to ball.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
There's a strange topic on Overwatch University where the poster wants their Winston reviewed. The Winston got the blame for the loss, but the OP seems to not be the Winston. Okay. That is a little bit of a strange topic. I don't know if we're going to do that one or not.
I am ready to roll.
No, what's that? Okay, that's fine. Are you trying to practice your pile drive? There is a tech there. Are you trying to get up top, or are you trying to practice your pile drive? Because this tech is a little bit challenging to do. Hey, Temporal, you reviewed my soldier gameplay yesterday, and it was greatly appreciated. Thank you. You're welcome, Blair. You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Blair. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about it or about anything from that review, you can throw them up here now, and I'll get to them in a minute. Practice? Okay. What are you practicing for, though? Are you practicing to get high enough to do the pile drive? And are you familiar with how that's actually done in terms of, hey, you're going at the wall and sort of not the instant you hit the wall, but sort of like right as you're hitting the wall, right as you're starting to roll up the wall a tiny bit, just before you've left the ground, you hit the jump and you end up getting a little more height. You're familiar with that? You actually have to stop hitting forward into the wall sort of right as you hit it. It can actually even help to hit backwards right as you hit it to do it. Or if you're using forward to immediately flip your camera, you could do it either way. Anyway, okay, that's fine. Yes, pile drive. No, I just saw. Okay. Well, I just explained the technique to you. It does take some practice, but as long as you know the technique, we're good.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
And it is a pretty critical ball technique. I'm not going to lie. That's not me saying you can't get through gold without it, but it is pretty critical. Okay, so here's the thing. In some ways, this is cool. Like, yeah, pile drive right on them. Big pile drive, got lots of people. Oh, my team can't see the other team. So unless I'm going to 100 to 0 someone when there's 5 people here, it doesn't matter. And that's correct. It doesn't matter. This pile drive, you have to engage. You have to engage where your team is able to contribute. Your team doesn't have to be right there with you. Your team is more pokey than you are. But you have to engage them where your team can reasonably hit shots on them. Where your team is threatening them at the same time that you're putting pressure on them, being a major distraction, pulling attention, etc. And that applies to really all tanks, but especially your Winston and your ball here. Okay. Sure. Dodge right, sure. Get more health back. You're going to need the mega as well. Cool. From high ground, just engage from high ground. Nope. You could totally have gone further here. There's absolutely no reason you can't jump out further and let yourself just use a little more travel time while falling to get a little further this way. You're not going to get very far, but a little further this way before you hit the pile drive. You don't care if you hit the pile drive from this height or this height. As long as you're still high enough to hit a pile drive, you're going to get the damage out of it. And the closer you are to them from a lateral standpoint, not a vertical standpoint, the more damage you're going to do. It's not like the higher you are, the more damage you do or anything. If you are super fast coming back from spawn, you can get eliminated super often. I mean, that's not really a good mindset to fall into, James, because we still don't want him to take terrible engagements. Well, okay, you adaptive shielded, and adaptive shielding suggests that you're going to stay in the fight. but you also immediately left the fight. Now you're going back in. What are you doing with this adaptive shield? Like, you popped your biggest, longest cooldown. It's a 15-second cooldown. And now that it's over, you're going back in, and you're going to take some damage. Huh? If you wanted to pile drive and roll out, that's fine. That's totally fine. If you want to do pile drive and fight for a bit with your weapons, be like, hey, I'm going to pile drive, now I'm going to adaptive shield while I've got a bunch of you. And yeah, then you're going to pile drive, you're going to adaptive shield right after your pile drive, because that's when you're around the most people. But then you just roll over to here and shoot them from over here. You're still somewhat in the fight. You maybe are like, I'm going to spend a second or so rolling before you do this, but you still have most of your adaptive shield time to use it. You went and were like, oh, let me go over here and leave, and okay, maybe I'll come back, etc. No, no. And now we're engaging from the same direction as our team, without our adaptive shield. Okay. And now you're retreating in the same direction of your team. If you'd retreated in this direction instead and cleared the Discord, then you'd be able to engage the direction from this team, which would be preferable, because you'd have a crossfire with your team, as opposed to now, you'll be rolling back in from the same direction as your team, which means spam damage that was meant for your team will probably hit you as you're rolling in, or spam damage that was meant for you and misses will hit your team. Whereas if spam damage was meant for you and missed back here, it hits no one. We prefer that. Okay. You don't need your team to heal you. Fat finger? What is this? What is this? This is not where the fight is happening. This is not forcing the enemy team to split up. This is not stopping the cart from moving. What is this? Misclick. Okay. Better. You have an angle. Good. Leave, leave, leave. I know you want him. Leave. Better. You instinctively went the wrong way here, but now you've adjusted and went the right way. You have a slightly different angle than your team. I don't need to go in yet. I don't need to go in with 2/3 health. I'm perfectly happy to circle through the mega over here, and then either come in from here, or even just go weapons mode up here and go pew 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 and be annoying.
Clear impact area.
Step right up.
That pile drive isn't great. You were never really going to be able to get her with that. Again, they're tucked deep enough that your team doesn't have the most amazing follow-up back there. Now they do. Now your team's gone deep. Good, good. Play the angle. We like it. Diva was not the target. Zen or Ana was. Full hero confirmed. There we go. Armadillo DPS incoming. That's a deflect that you're shooting at. Again, you're engaging from the same direction as your team. Up the stairs and then back into the health pack, but okay. You just tethered with no idea what you were after. Okay, that's a slightly better minefield. I still don't want you retreating in the direction of your team. You are not retreating. I think you're retreating in the direction of your team because you're used to that being safety as a tank, and as Winston and such, that would be true, sure. But as Bull, you're really not counting on your teammates to heal you, and you don't need the safety of your team because so few threats can keep up with you once you leave. Like, oh no, I got out with 150 health. You got out with 150 health? Well, nothing's catching you, so you're going to go get health packs before it. You're safe. Whereas if you're like Winston and you exit this way, I hope nothing chases me down, etc., etc., that's a bit more of a problem. As Ball, almost nothing keeps up with you. So there's less risk to going out in a different direction, and you're going to be super fast again to go gather up these health packs to go re-engage. Whereas if you're Winston, Reinhardt, Orisa, you sort of want your supports able to heal you back up as you retreat. Not so much with Ball. You're not counting on that.
60 seconds.
Okay.
remaining.
The melee? Yeah. You have to go. Yep. Server for the mega. Do you realize how much health you got? You're healthy again, man. You have 655 health for 9 seconds. You're good. You don't need to run away this hard. Now, you don't need to fight right in the middle of them. You can roll yourself over to here and sort of shoot from the outside rather than right in the middle of them and take a second to do that. But you do not need to, oh no, I'm terrified, I better flee. No, you've got plenty of health.
30 seconds remaining.
Good, good. Didn't like the engagement angle, but that's because of how you were treated. Only tanks get to play animals. This is discrimination. Don't worry, Jetpack Cat will be, I don't know, a support. Probably don't use the tether there. That's some lazy tracking. Again, it's not bad aim, it's that you're not trying to aim right there. Oh, we're engaging from the proper direction. You could have run away from him.
I'm on fire. System initialized.
So this isn't really remotely surprising.
Surrender to my will.
You're gonna minefield, and that's gonna be the end of an already won fight. Okay, so you had questions of did you play the right heroes? Yes, Winston is a great hero, and Ball is a fine hero for this map. You played the right heroes. Next question was, wait, our offense was bad. Kind of. How did we win this game? Well, the real answer is the hard point to get past on first point. This cart had, I believe, pushed up a little further a second ago. Doesn't matter. The hard part to get past on first point is this right here. You can do epic long stops here for almost 4 minutes at this spot and with the cart here in this box pretty regularly because you have so much good control around here, around here, around here, around here, around here as the defenders. And the attackers have to work, even if they're playing correctly, they have to work very hard to break this control, generally through getting control of blue box. Blue box is amazing. Doesn't matter though, because your attackers kept trying to walk through this. They kept trying to walk through this, and that is why you won this. When the other team was attacking, they were mostly interested in going through here, rather than going up high ground, getting control of this, getting control of this. Oh, we have a super chat coming in from Adam Nicholas for $1.99 saying, this review sucks. Legit RC, beat this scrub again. Again? Again? Again at what? Are you saying we went head-to-head more recently and there was another loss? Is he doing a review of this player on Gibraltar right now? Is that what happened? Okay. Again, super chat coming in from Adam. Thank you very much. Say for $1.99 saying this review sucks. Legit RC beat this scrub again. Thank you, Adam. So the other team simply didn't push high ground, and if they don't push high ground, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard for you to break through. It's going to be very hard for the attackers to break the cart past this spot right here. You have to go through high ground. You have to. Now, will you sometimes get through here going on low ground when the defenders also don't know what they're doing? Yeah. Will you sometimes the defenders overcommit here, get wiped too hard, and you're able to sneak the cart past this, and then you're able to win another fight as attackers before the defenders really set up? Yeah. But I'm not remotely surprised. Like, as soon as you told me, oh, the cart got here, so as soon as I saw that the cart got to second and you're like, oh, we won, how did we win? You remember how I told you the cart is probably going to get to here? That's just kind of a known thing in Overwatch. That this is, it's not just a known thing, but it is a known thing that this is a really hard spot to get through. Get your high ground control, potentially rotate through server room if you're attacking, all those good things. They didn't, they lost. They tried a one-dimensional attack. That doesn't work because angles. Angles. The team that has more angles and greater angles tends to be the team that wins. The attacking team, if they push through low ground like this, does not have angles, and they lose repeatedly. So that's how you won. You did play the right heroes. So then getting into your Hammond specific stuff, because we did your Winston specific stuff, we're going to talk about your engagement timing. Engagement timing, you need to engage the opponents. If you're finding just one person to fight, that's fine. You can engage them. If you find an isolated fight, go engage them. Your team doesn't matter. Their team doesn't matter because they're isolated and you think you can beat them. No problem. You got the drop on them. Go beat up on that Zen. But if you're attacking a group of enemies, a Zen and an Ana together, a big team for you to pile drive, it's worthless if it's not when your team can see and threaten the other team. It's worthless. So like that first engage back at the very beginning where it's right outside their spawn door, your team can't see them right outside their spawn door. So that's worthless. It just means you put your abilities on cooldown, you risk getting eliminated, you give the other team ult charge, and your team doesn't get that ult charge back in the form of support healing because you're Hammond and you heal back up with health packs. So that doesn't work. Could you maybe be like, oh no, it's got a tiny bit of value because I'm slowing down their rotation and they're going to be later because of it? That can add up and that can matter. That's not a completely invalid thing, but I wouldn't recommend you play heavily with that playstyle in mind. I want to say unless you know exactly what you're doing, but I wouldn't recommend you do that unless you have a clock that you're very specifically manipulating. Like that works a little better on King of the Hill where you can eliminate an extra team fight. You can eliminate a team fight in this too. Let me rephrase that. If you're doing that, it has to slow them down meaningfully, and you have to do it in such a way that you have all of your cooldowns and enough health available for when the real team fight actually happens. If you do that playstyle without understanding when you need to stop doing it so that you're ready in time for the real team fight, it can be a real detriment. But that's fine. That's a tangent. So engagement timing, this has to be leveled up. You have to go for your engagements when the opposing team or when your team can see the opposing team, can actually engage upon them. That's what we're looking to do. We'd actually like to be the opener. We'd actually like to be the one to start the fight, mostly speaking, but we need to do it when our team can see their team. The second thing is going to be your shield. If you pop your shield, you got to do something with it. You can't pop your shield and leave. We might as well take this ability away from you because you're not doing anything useful with it. Seriously, I don't think I saw you do anything useful with your shield the entire match. If you use your adaptive shield, your 15-second cooldown, you have to stay in. Again, you can be like, hey, the enemy team is here and here and here and here, and your team is here and here, and you are here and you hit your adaptive shield after pile driving, you don't have to stay right here. You can roll yourself out to over here and then shoot in. But this is only going to take you a second, and you activated the adaptive shield when you get the max size adaptive shield. But then you actually do have to spend some time being a threat sort of in the fight, in a place that matters, not just roll out and do whatever. That's not going to work for you. You're not getting any value out of adaptive shield unless you would have been eliminated on the way out, which guess what? That didn't actually really happen. You weren't in situations where you were going to get eliminated on the way out. When you use your adaptive shield, if you get a big adaptive shield, you have to spend it like this. And then the third thing that we want to cover is retreat direction. That's terrible. Whatever. Retreat direction. And what you're looking at here is do not retreat towards your team. It's not what we do. We can retreat this way. 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 But we need to maintain a different angle because the direction that we retreat influences the direction that we come back in for our next hit, when our grappling claw is back, when our pile drive is back, whatever the case may be. And it's important that that's a different direction than our team. It makes the opponents continue to think about, well, shoot, I have to think about the ball that's over there. There was a ball that went that way. I have to think about that, but I also have to think about this team that's forward here. Them having to split their attention, split their thoughts of, I know there's a ball over in that direction, helps you. It distracts them. We talked about the benefits of spam damage. If spam damage that's meant for your team won't hit you, spam damage meant for you won't hit your team. That's a benefit. They can't keep both directions on their screen at the same time. That helps you. There's also that you compromise cover. So like if you're doing gunner mode type stuff over here and they get cover against your team, they're like, aha, I found a piece of cover against the team. Well, it's not effective against you, so they'd have to use different cover to be effective against you, but then they're not protected against your team. So direction does all sorts of things, and the direction that you retreat will heavily influence the direction that you re-enter the fight from. So please stop retreating towards your team. These are the 3 things I want you to work on. This is probably the easiest to fix. So let's have you work on this one first. This is important for every main tank, so probably this one next, and this you just got 0 value out of, but I suppose you can work on third. So do these 3 things, work on them one at a time with 5 to 15% of your brain power. Do not try to work on all 3 of these things at once. Do not work on the 6 things between these 2 heroes all at once. Go, I'm going to play Winston, and when I'm playing Winston, I'm going to work on this, and play Winston for 5 games, 10 games, 15 games. I'm going to play ball, and I'm going to work on this. Play ball for 10 games, 20 games, 40 games, whatever it takes for you to get that first thing, this first habit worked into your system. And then once it's worked into your system, it's part of your autopilot. Then you move on to the next one and you work that one into your autopilot. We're training this into your muscle memory. That's what we're doing. Okay. I hope these make sense. If you or anyone else has questions, you can throw them up in chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff. Remember when Tempura lost, I do, this guy sucks, boo, and then Adam has thrown 4 tomatoes at me. Thank you, Adam. Getting old, thanks, man. No problem. No problem. It all comes down to blue box. If blue team controlled blue box, they would have won the game. I mean, yeah. Video idea. Temporal losing to legit RC. Well, this is how you remind me. Well, this is how you remind me by Nickelback plays. Yeah, probably not. Winston and Hammond are respectable heroes that people below GM are permitted to play. They are. Okay. I think that's going to do it. We will head into another review right after this one. I think there's a support VOD that I'm going to grab, probably Moira Lucio one. But we'll see. Maybe there'll be something else that just jumps out there and is more important. But if you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. That helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. That like button right down there. You can press it. It doesn't bite. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. That's okay, Infinity. You can just catch the next one that we're going to head into in just a minute here. And if people want to catch that next one, and they're like, is it going to be live in a minute, 5 minutes, 3 minutes? When is it going to be live? I want to catch it right when it goes live. The best way to do that is in that Discord. There is a channel called Get Notifications. You can click into that channel, react to become a watcher, and then you'll get Discord pings when I'm about to go live, when I go live here. So you can see, oh wait, it's a Plat Moira, I want to see that. It's a Gold Winston, I want to see that. We're reviewing your Overwatch guide, I want to see that. We're talking about health and fitness, because apparently we did that yesterday. I want to see that. Like, you can see what the topic of the video is, and you can go ahead and be there if you want to be there. So I recommend becoming a watcher. You don't have to catch every video, though you should, but you can see if it's a video that interests you and be here to be part of the discussion. Okay, that's going to do it. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.